Here's a little riddle for you. I'm older than the dinosaurs. I carry my home on my back, and I've crossed the oceans for millions of years. Now though, I need your help. What am I?
I think I know the answer, Chris. Have you guessed it as well? Well, here's the clue. It swims back to the same beach where it was hatched to lay its own eggs. Do you get it? Do you have the answer? Do you know? Well, if you guessed turtle, then you guessed right. So turtles are among the many marine animals suffering as a result of our pollution. Now, these turtles need us to all get our hands on deck.
One good turtle photo can become much more than a holiday memory. In Egypt's Red Sea, it can become scientific data. That's the idea behind the work of the Turtle Watch initiative, turning divers, snorkelers, and sea lovers into citizen scientists. But before anyone enters the water, the lesson starts on land. For these children, protecting turtles begins with learning how to enjoy the sea without disturbing the wildlife that calls it home.
What we need to do if we see a marine turtle, we stop, we try not to get too close, of course, we don't touch, and if the turtle is going up to breathe, we just stop, we don't rush to the surface, and we just observe. Whoever has a camera or a GoPro can take a picture of the side of the heads.
Along the coast of the Red Sea, the NGO Turtle Watch Egypt 2.0 brings marine scientists and everyday visitors together. Instead of keeping science in research centers, the initiative turns time in the sea into an opportunity to observe and document marine turtles.
The main aim of Turtle Watch is to protect marine turtles, and to do that we cannot do it alone. So the citizen science approach is crucial in our project because having the citizen scientists involved means that we have a lot of potential contributors every day.
Like human fingerprints, each turtle's facial markings are unique. The photographs of these markings received by Turtle Watch are used to identify individual turtles. If participants document one that's never been seen before, they are invited to name it. An observation becomes a lasting connection.
This is helping us have information on marine turtle behavior, growth rate, and finally injury rate and recovery patterns. So we have to take care that we don't have, for example, too many boats in that specific place.
Every sighting involves a careful process of reviewing photographs, matching facial markings, and verifying observations before they enter the database. With only a small team based in Marsa Alam, the initiative depends on a growing network of volunteers contributing from across Egypt and beyond. Zoology graduate Toka Adegmawi, who first joined Turtle Watch during a university internship. Since then, she has supported the project remotely from Cairo with photo identification, awareness campaigns, and Arabic language outreach. The whole experience is suddenly finding yourself in Egypt, in the sea, surrounded by turtles, talking science. In Egypt, this isn't something you come across every day, especially if you are from Cairo. It changes you to the point where you think, I have to keep doing this, even remotely. And they were open to it, so I've kept working with them remotely for almost 2 years now. Egypt welcomed nearly 19 million visitors in 2025, with Marsa Alam among its busiest tourist destinations. While tourism supports millions of jobs in Egypt, it strains the fragile ecosystem of the Red Sea. There are 5 species of marine turtles which inhabit these waters. Boat traffic, plastic pollution, and coastal development threatens several of these species. Every verified turtle sighting helps build a clearer picture of how these waters are changing over time.
If we don't protect the environment, in a few years we may lose the spot where we dive today. The turtle helps us understand the conditions of the sea. And if the turtles disappear, it's likely that many other marine species will disappear as well.
Many people want to help, but good intentions alone don't always produce reliable data. That's why Turtle Watch created its Marine Turtle Specialty Diver course. The aim isn't just to train better contributors, but to equip new instructors to pass that knowledge on.
We optimize our time with the turtle in the way that we don't spend too much time with the turtle, but we get as many photos as possible.
You've taken the left side of the face, then I put it on the left side of the camera?
Yes.
Okay.
And if I take, so you put it in the opposite side as
the
what
one
you
I
have
took.
taken. Yes.
Gotcha, okay.
Underwater, much of the work happens slowly. Trained divers and snorkelers learn to search, document, and move carefully through a fragile ecosystem.
This is so worth saving and protecting each and every day, and each and everybody of us can actually do a small contribution, a small part of it.
It's just a really good way and in quite an easy way to get involved without obviously going through like formal university training or something like that. And it does make a difference as well.
And sometimes routine observation reveals more than expected. During one training dive, the team spots a rare sighting. A mother dugong swimming alongside her calf. Within hours, the encounter is shared with researchers, instructors, and conservation groups. What began as a routine dive becomes a meaningful contribution to conservation. The sea remains fragile, but documenting the marine world may be first step toward protecting it.
As a mother, the next story really gets under my skin because we all try to protect our children and keep them safe, but how do you protect them from something you cannot see? PFAS are known as forever chemicals. Now, they can be found in loads of everyday objects, from the Teflon pans we use to everyday shoes, and they even infiltrate our water, soil, and food. But this story goes beyond fear. It is a story of resilience, of mothers refusing to remain silent, communities standing together, and scientists working to solve the problem.
These mothers are at a historic protest against a chemical plant that threatens their water, their health, and their children's future. It spouts forever chemicals, also known as PFAS. It will pass from a mother's body to her children. Are we supposed to just stand by and watch our children suffer? This story of PFAS contamination is part of a global chemical crisis that began thousands of kilometers away in Italy. From Europe to Asia, this is an ongoing uprising of local communities led by mothers fighting a global problem. And there are solutions, but before we dive into that, let's get into the chemical core of the scandal, PFAS. PFAS are a group of over 10,000 chemicals with exceptionally strong carbon-fluorine bonds. They hold together so well that they do difficult jobs, like make clothes water-resistant and Teflon cookware handle high heat. They're in literally everything from dental floss to fast food packaging and even medical devices. They can last forever. So the big problem arises when they are not treated properly and spill into the environment. PFAS persist in rivers, groundwater and the soil. They enter animals and even our bodies through drinking water, food, or even household dust. Most people worldwide have PFAS in their blood. Scientists are still working to understand the long-term impacts, but even low levels of PFAS have been linked to cancer, hormone disruption, weakened immunity, and developmental issues. These Italian mothers found this out the hard way and have been protesting for years. Their white T-shirts became their symbol. They show their children's names and the PFAS levels found in their blood. Giovanni and Michaela began the movement here. In 2017, we heard my daughter's blood contained levels of these substances that were among the highest ever recorded worldwide. The company, Miteni Chemicals, lay just a few kilometres from their village and its effluents reached it. Giovanna and her husband didn't know this when they moved here 26 years ago, giving up their city jobs for what they believed to be a healthy, pollution-free countryside life for their 5 children. We realised that we had a bomb, that our children have a bomb inside their bodies that can explode at any time, and that, unfortunately, there was nothing we could do. The discharge of PFAS from the company contaminated the land here all the way to the sea. The pollution was only publicly uncovered in 2013 when scientists tested the water. By then, an estimated 350,000 people in the region had been exposed, in some cases for years. The case triggered a major public health response, including mass blood testing. A study has since recorded 4,000 excess deaths in the area from diseases including kidney and testicular cancer and cardiovascular disease. There was also a causal link to the death of a Miteni employee from prolonged exposure. Giovanna had to change life on her organic farm. She stopped growing fruits and vegetables and had to cull her animals. The ones that remain are now treated as pets. At first, she was scared, but then she wanted to take action. Giovanni and Michaela and many other mothers began organising.
Anger
was the first strong emotion. But coming together as women, as mothers, has softened it. It's been transformed into a drive to understand the problem and to find solutions together. They held demonstrations, attended conferences, and eventually filed a lawsuit against the chemical company. With success. A court sentenced 11 former company executives to jail for serious environmental crimes. But then an investigation revealed that the pollution just moved across the globe. The machinery of the bankrupt Miteni plant has been transferred to India. Michaela was able to contact people from the area, including Varun Sukraj. He comes from the village where Miteni's machinery is now back in operation. Here, production continues under the name Lakshmi Organic Industries. The region hopes to become a new centre of chemical production. Varun began raising awareness in the village. He told people that when regulation tightens in one place, often production doesn't disappear, it relocates, landing on those with the least power to resist. A video Michaela made went viral among the community here. We had no idea about PFAS. When we saw the Italian protest on YouTube and understood the situation there, we researched it. That's when we realized how toxic this substance being produced really is. People began organizing. In April, 3,000 took to the streets to protest. Their slogan, Mothers of Konkan Refuse to Accept PFAS, was inspired by Mama No PFAS in Italy. Their message is clear. India cannot host industrial practices rejected elsewhere. Some have been protesting for over 75 days straight. I believe this company must be shut down, and we will not stay quiet until it is. This mother of Konkan says no to PFAS. In India, there is currently no regulatory framework that bans or governs the production of PFAS, a gap that has allowed the issue to remain largely invisible in public discourse so far. But back in Europe, there are scientists working on a different part of this problem. The Zurich-based startup Oxyler has found a way to not just detect and measure PFAS in wastewater, but also destroy the chemicals. Founder Faye Mushtaq grew up in India.
That always formed a part of my life where we could never take water for granted. And it also led to a mission in my life where I wanted to do something about water when I grew up. My journey into PFAS started much later in life. It started when I came to Switzerland, and I realized even in a country like Switzerland, where the water looks so clean, we have all these invisible chemicals. We have PFAS, we have pesticides, pharmaceuticals in water, which should not be in there.
Oxala built a mobile container that can be driven to industrial sites where PFAS are produced, allowing the chemicals to be eliminated at source before they reach the environment. Inside the container, water that has been contaminated is pumped into this canister. UV lights and a special cocktail of chemicals are then added to the water, which breaks down the strong chemical bonds. What comes out are harmless end products like water, carbon dioxide and fluoride. The cleaned up water can then be safely released into nature. This technology can typically treat a few thousand litres of water per hour, depending on the level of PFAS concentration and how much energy is used during the process.
This technology that we have is specifically designed so that anyone can afford that. Where we have different levers we can tune. We can give them a very quick treatment because they can afford to pay for high energy and because space is the issue, like in Europe. Or we can also do a much slower treatment with low energy.
This is one part of the solution that can be deployed globally. But for it to be adopted, awareness and regulatory support are essential to bring it to scale. They're still only dealing with PFAS already in the environment. But the protests have brought change.
PFAS बहुत ही spurious और dangerous chemical से संबंधित मशीनरी.
After the protests this year, PFAS was mentioned on the floor of the Indian Parliament for the first time ever.
बहुत महत्वपूर्ण विषय उठा रहा हूँ.
Varun spoke, among others, at the European Parliament about the proliferation of PFAS to other regions. Michaela and Giovanni showed up in solidarity. Currently, the EU is considering a broad ban on PFAS production, use and sale, with limited exemptions. Companies would then face stricter reporting rules, tighter emission limits, and clear phase-out deadlines. And that would be a big first step forward in the fight against these tough, forever chemicals in our water, soil, and bodies.
There is a silent killer in Lagos that nobody is talking about. It is everywhere around you, even as we speak. What if I told you there is a way to handle it and still move about with your hustle?
Dumping the fuel engine and going for an electric bike is not just saving you money, it is giving us cleaner air to breathe in Lagos. Egbon, you think saying a joke? 70% of the choking smoke we will see for Lagos comes from vehicle emissions. Think again, oh. We are talking over 11,000 lives lost every year just from breathing polluted air. That's not a flex. No exhaust fumes means cleaner lungs. You are not just protecting the environment, you are protecting you.
Imagine a Lagos where you can actually hear yourself think. No heat between your legs, no scars from hot exhaust.
Just fresh air. Are you ready to move without the noise and the fumes? Let's go!
Farming without soil sounds futuristic, but aquaponics is actually pretty simple, first used by the Aztecs hundreds of years ago. It's a system where fish and plants grow together. Actually, it's bacteria that do the heavy lifting. The fish produce poop, and bacteria turn it into food for the plants. Without the bacteria, neither fish nor plant could survive. Around 70% of global freshwater use goes to agriculture, but aquaponics uses up to 90% less water than soil-based farming because the water is recycled again and again. And because the plant root sits directly in nutrients, crops like lettuce can grow in just 28 days instead of 60 to 100 days as they would in soil. Aquaponics can produce 2 to 4 times more food in the same area than soil-based agriculture. And no soil also means no weeds. Let's go to Libya and see how they do it there.
This is not your typical farm. The roots of the crops don't grow in soil. They get their nutrients from the water of a giant fish tank. At harvest time, the lettuces are just lifted out on their floating plant beds. This is aquaponics, where fish and vegetable farming work side by side. At our farm Hydro Harvest, we grow all kinds of leafy greens: lettuce, arugula, mint, basil, kale. We use a deep water culture system, meaning the plants grow in nutrient-rich water. Abdullah Al-Fandi's farm lies just outside Libya's capital, Tripoli. Human-induced climate change has hit this North African country hard, causing searing heat waves and droughts. For Libya's 1.5 million farmers, such as Mohamed Al-Zawawi, it's an existential threat. Al-Zawawi grows chard and pomegranates, but watering them is a growing problem. Like most farmers in this parched country, he relies on water supplies from the reservoirs of Libya's great man-made river project that funnels water from an aquifer under the Sahara. But the network has been damaged in the country's armed conflict. Mohamed is worried about his future. I've lost a lot of crops. I used to fill 4 trucks with produce. Now I can barely fill 1, and even that's a push. I still try to sell what I can on the market, but we've had no governmental support. We have a long coastline on the Mediterranean. I really hope the authorities will invest in desalination so farms like mine can irrigate with seawater. At Abdullah Al-Fandi's aquaponics farm, the water also comes from a reservoir but is used far more efficiently. It circulates between the fish tanks and the plants. The tilapia provide nutrients such as nitrogen and phosphorus through their excretions. And the plants help filter the clean water. In this closed-loop system, palms keep the water well oxygenated. And there's another benefit. Regular Libyan farms often use pesticides with little regulation. Residues on the harvest can cause a range of health issues, as well as harming the environment. Abdullah's closed system gets by without pesticides and synthetic fertilizers and produces organic fish and vegetables with minimal water loss, making it a sustainable option for desert countries like Libya. As environmental scientists, we strongly support this kind of eco-farming. It avoids the need for chemical fertilizers and even some of the poorly regulated organic ones you find on the market. Abdullah Al-Fandi was just 24 when he launched his aquaponics farm in 2023. Despite the large initial outlay and technical challenges, he got his project off the ground with a €20,000 grant from the EU's Libya Startup Program. He's now built up a loyal customer base for his organic produce, like this cafe in Tripoli. But for him, this is just the beginning. He wants to help improve food security in Libya and inspire others to follow his lead. Awareness is still lacking, and most people in Libya don't have much money to spend. But I believe change is coming. We are already seeing signs of progress. And when things shift, we want to be ready to lead a better market. Mohamed Al-Zawawi is also looking into water-efficient farming systems. He's realized you can get bigger yields in smaller spaces with multiple harvests per year. With more information and research becoming available, I'm seriously thinking about moving away from traditional farming to save water and reduce waste. I've already started using drip irrigation, and I'm exploring hydroponics as a more efficient, more sustainable option. Meanwhile, Abdullah Al-Fandi is constantly refining his system and has added azolla to the growing cycle. The plant, also known as mosquito fern, covers the surface of the water, reducing evaporation and keeping mosquitoes from laying eggs. It's also packed with protein and makes perfect food for his fish. organic aquaponics could play a big part in future agriculture in Libya, where innovation isn't just smart, it's essential.
Well, and that's it for this time. This week's show was about the power we have to make a difference. Many of us want to give back to our communities and make a positive impact on the places that we live. Sometimes all it takes is finding the right opportunity or joining others who are already making a difference, or even just having the courage to start something yourself. The power to create change is in our hands.
Exactly. I would love to hear about anything that you're up to. Get in touch and don't forget to subscribe to our newsletter too. See you next time.